The function of a performing philosopher is not to try to sell you on any brand name of philosophy. I have no dogma. I have no favorite cause here. I have one cause, and that's the goal of a performing philosopher, is to encourage you and inspire you and empower you to the extent I can to think for yourself and question authority.
Family, the only people I got love for, but half my fam seeing trouble from the drug war. Pain, that's what the drug's for. Hood politic and president is what I run for. Cold roads, ice picks at the front door. You think you run these streets, brother, we run more. Track stars, trap stars, third eye open, abusing drugs, bumping Black Star. We all characters, but never actors. I'm seeing multiples and you don't know
What's
your
up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? What's up,
Yes.
Malachi?
Hello.
How you doing, brother?
Good, brother. Just here, San Diego.
There you go.
Sunniest place in America. Yeah.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Debatable.
No, it's
Debatable?
gorgeous.
No, I'm just-
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Malachi, this is Jesse. He's a buddy of mine.
My guy.
Padre, partner.
Yes, yes.
So how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm in San Diego. Feeling good. This is actually one of those cities that I wanted to...
Turn the mic towards you. Move it towards you just a little bit. There you go.
Right there.
Yeah, we good.
San Diego was one of those cities that I always wanted to travel to and actually live in. Maybe it's not too late, but right out of high school, it was San Diego. I wanted to actually go to San Diego State. It was Aztecs, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to be an Aztec warrior. I found that they didn't have a track program. I was just like, my heart was just broken. Yeah. But needless to say, I've always enjoyed coming down to San Diego. So
Yeah.
happy to be here. Happy to hang out with you guys.
Yeah, we're
and-
happy to have you here, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
man.
great. This is great. You guys got an organ in the corner too. Look
Yeah,
at
this is
a
Icon Studios.
unique-
They have bands and all kinds of.
So some big acts coming here.
No, well, Jericho would know, but it's a legit place.
Well, we
It's
got
cool.
Jess and Eric. That's the biggest act right now. So,
Hey, that's what's up.
you know what I mean? That's all that matters.
That's all that
I got my
matters.
kombucha. You guys have done good keeping me comfortable with the kombucha.
There you
This is
go.
great. Ginger lemon.
There you go.
Yes.
Yes, sir, man. So what's going on in your world, bro? What have you been doing with your life?
Mm.
I know you're a busy man. What's been going on?
So I know we met
Two or 3 years ago?
2-3 years ago, and it was through a course that we took, which was the whole fascia stretching
Yeah.
modality. And my background as a performance coach set me up years back when I got into the sport of track and field. So I kind of do everything in reverse timeline wise. I was that kid that was faster than the other kids in the neighborhood.
Where you from? Sacramento, right?
I'm originally from Sacramento.
Okay.
So I was born in Sacramento, raised in Davis, California. My last name's Davis, so it gets really strange. People would always be like, Davis from Davis? What are you, the mayor? And I'm like, no, it's just one of those weird things. But raised in Northern California, and my identity at that stage of my life was track. I was I was that fast kid. And from there, it's just year after year, I kind of just went up a notch, up a level, and it allowed me to, I'm skipping through a lot of stages, but it's allowed me to work with a lot of prominent athletes in regards to getting them fit, conditioned, speed, and how to handle speed intelligently. So it's been good.
Dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about track growing up. You started in high school, you started in junior high school. When did you start with the when did you pick track as your primary sport?
I picked track, my primary sport, I want to say my junior year in high school.
Wow, that's late.
It was late. It was.
Yeah,
I was
fast,
never
though.
like the club track youth guy. My parents never signed me up for it. It was just one of those things, like instinctively I knew I was fast, but it was definitely a gift, and it was a gift that I had to take care of and protect, and it had prerequisites. But before that, I would say that I really knew I was fast. A lot of people are taken back by this. When I was 7, I was diagnosed with cancer.
Wow.
So for about 2 years, I was in and out of the hospital. Did the whole chemo thing. Looked like Michael Jordan, had all my hair fall out. And it's like the doctor's like, "Hey, you could be like Mike now." I'm like, "Not really. I just want my hair." But needless to say,
I still want
as
my hair.
soon as I recovered, It was like the Forrest Gump type experience. So I'm not sure if you guys remember that stage of Forrest Gump where he gets the braces off his legs
And he just keeps running.
and he kept running
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
was fast. That was me. So all those moments of me looking out the window, seeing all the other kids play, and I'm just like, man, I can't wait till it's my one day to play. I want to run. I want to jump. I want to scream. I want to have fun. It was just one year after the next where I've always had to spend my weekends, and literally those 2-3 years of just being really, really sick and not knowing what the fate of Malachi was going to take place. And then as soon as I basically outran cancer, I was off to the races. And I was just like, oh, I guess my legs do turn over faster than the average. And that's what allowed me to find that passion to move. It's not necessarily I'm a runner, but to move and to build that relationship with my body. And in doing so, I didn't consider it taking me around the world or the people that I met. It was just something at that time I respected, and I loved it. So everybody's always trying to find their pursuit and their passion. I always kind of tell people passion comes down to something that you get for free and something that does have prerequisites. And if you do it right, it is something, it's like your first love. And I think that everybody has, a love for something before there's a paycheck or before there's a mindset like, well, how much is this going to make me? I ran just because I loved it. I didn't see it like, oh, I'm going to go to the Olympics, or it's going to bring me to this stage of my life, or I like doing it. I'm good at it. And most people are passionate about something that they're good at, but there was prerequisites in terms of training, discipline, food, work ethic, and so forth.
Got you. So you ran for Sacramento City College?
Yeah. So my background was ran in high school, started my junior year. So I somewhat started late, always had good coaches. And from there, I had the option of taking on some scholarships to some smaller schools, but I thought it was the best move for me to go to local JC, kind of get my grades up, get my mind right, stay close to home, build that structure and foundation, and from there, take it to the next level, if that was in my cards. So I did go to Sacramento City College, go Panthers, and for those 2 years, I had excellent coaching. Coach Silva, one of my biggest components, and I basically say like the U-turn to my career, or that fork in the road where I'd either just be kind of just like, this is something I just do, didn't really go anywhere, get my go on to school, get the diploma, move on. It was this one gentleman named Calvin Carter, and he was really instrumental in terms of giving me that structure, that mentorship, and that direct. I was fortunate enough to win the second year for the California State Community College Championships, and lo and behold, that gave me an opportunity to run for UCLA. It was quite the experience when I found out that I was enrolled into UCLA and I got in. So, and just one stepping stone to the next. And that's what brought my journey from Northern California down to Southern California.
Dope. Well, what's the most impactful lesson you got from a coach, whether it be from SAC or UCLA?
Great question. Man, I'm trying to figure out just one.
Well, go for it.
Right. Well, I'd say a couple would be, you are the athlete when no one else is around.
It's big.
So if I only train hard and push myself when a coach is there and my training partners are there, you're more than likely not going to be the athlete that you aspire to be. So I learned how to develop that skill set after practice, doing my due diligence in terms of nutrition, recovery, the visual exercises that needed to take place, the stretching, and just the overall decisions I would make. So it put me in the best possible position when I step up to the line, win or lose, I could live with the result.
Yeah.
Obviously, as an athlete, you're expecting this fantasy of being undefeated. Whether it's a basketball player, you never miss a shot. Football player, you always catch the winning touchdown. Baseball player, every time you go up to bat, you hit a home run. The realistic is, when you're an athlete, you sign a pledge of, you will get hurt, you will strike out, You will lose and you will be injured. And your performance will one day take a backseat into, you know what I mean? Just father time, what they always say is undefeated. And you don't realize you signed this contract, but you do. So again, step one was you're the athlete when no one else is around. So I built up that relationship with myself of always becoming a student and doing as much as I can. 2, build a community. So whether you look at institutions, religion, politics, anything of a certain level in our society, it starts with the community. So I had, very strong mentors, my father, my mom, coaches, massage therapists, just general people that believed in me. And those are the people that I responded well to. Those are the people that I relied on. Those are the people I fell back on. And so within that community in this world, outside of that world, it didn't matter as much because I had my world. I had my community to fall back on and respond to. But the biggest community I had was within myself when I'd spend that time alone to perfect my craft.
Yeah.
So those are some of the lessons that were given to me, especially at that stage. I was like, when I think I was 19 years old. So I learned some really key characteristics right from the start that allowed me to have that longevity in the career and perseverance. I wasn't the fastest. I wasn't the slowest. I never considered myself world class at that time. It was just, hey, I like doing this. And I did it so well that aside from the talent, there was nothing in my being that you couldn't see a mile away. Like, this guy loves to do this.
Yeah.
It was like my top priority.
Gotcha.
And it wasn't a priority for money. It was just like,
That's what you like to do.
and it's what I like to do. I like to run around in circles wearing tights.
That's
There was
awesome.
no superhero, but it was perseverance.
Nice.
I just had it. But the perseverance also before that was the passion.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why everybody's always chasing, like, what's your passion? What's your passion? I always tell people, everyone's going to articulate it a different way. Your passion tends to be something that you were born with. It's for free. It's unique. It's voice activated for you. And it's your easy. Everybody does one thing that's easy. For some reason, whether you know how to draw, it's easy. Whether you know how to be a people person, it's easy. Whether you're good looking, whatever. Everybody's blessed with one easy. The only difficult thing is your easy does have a prerequisite. Some people have their easy and they just don't do anything about it. Then it becomes hard. But I think life does get hard when you follow someone else's easy. It's like all of us trying to be LeBron James,
sure.
right? And it's like, damn, we're not 6'9". I'm not 250. It's like, that's his easy.
Yeah.
But he took his easy and he disciplined it. He worked for it. He had perseverance for it. And it transcended to what he is now. So for me, my gift was, I think we all have several gifts, but at that stage, which I tended to focus a lot of my time and attention on, was the ability to have this relationship with my body, in this case, running. And I fed that passion. I trained for it. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm fast, I can eat whatever I want. No. Took into consideration what I was putting in my body and listened to those that have been there. That's another thing too. I think there's shortcuts in life, and the shortcut in life sometimes are these life hacks. Find someone that's done it before and listen. You always have to kind of custom it to who you are, but for the most part, instead of taking on your trials and tribulations, you can cut down half the mistakes by just listening to someone who's been there. So, yeah.
Definitely. So, another question. What is the defining moment at UCLA? Defining whether it be a certain class you took or a win you had at UCLA?
Defining moment at UCLA. There was a couple, but one, my first year, fortunately, I was able to be a part of a unique 4x4 team. We were together on the collegiate level. We were average runners, but when we would get together on this relay team, which was a 4x4, we happened to be the country's best. So we actually won in '99, way back. We won the 4x4 at the NCAAs, which was unbelievable. And the whole year we'd actually lost.
Wow.
And every race that we were entered in, it didn't take place, but it was just one of those moments, those wrinkles in time where we came together and we knew in the semis that we were going to win. It's very strange when you kind of study sports and how sports relates to business and how business and sports relates to life. And everybody has these moments of being in the zone or knowing something's about to take place. And we knew we were going to win. We knew we were going to win because I don't know if we just believed at that time. Everything was coming in full cycle. But for the most part, we put together our best races ever. And in doing so, we won by the narrowest of margins. And that was with my teammates, Terrence Williams, Michael Granville, Brian Fell. When you guys listen to this, I did give you guys a shout out. You know, I am thinking about you guys, my brothers, forever. And that was probably my most what just happened moment. Yeah. Because when it comes to sports, it was never planned. It wasn't like I was that kid like, oh, I need to go here and it was never planned. It was just like, I did just enough for the moment. But when I felt, I'm very much a guy who lives in the moment. But when I do feel something, I go all in. And just for that to occur, I'm just like, whoa, what happened? This is crazy. Yeah. This is crazy. Of course I want to win, but I didn't. It's just like, wait, this actually just happened. So that was a very defining moment. As far as on the academic side at UCLA, the workload to the discipline. My professors, I've had some amazing professors. Chan was one of my favorite professors. I still have a close relationship with her and her family. Shout out to Chan, who's in Paris. I will be crashing on your couch in about a year from now or this summer, 2019. So another shout out to you. But she instilled in me, she had some amazing courses on race and relations. So it was just a great opportunity at that stage in my life and where we were as a country to really expand upon thinking outside of, you know, whether it's gender, sexuality, politics. It was just a really intimate, strong class to kind of to express yourself. So that's probably that one class I thought about of all the classes I've taken. It was just like that class was really a game changer. And needless to say, I was at UCLA. So I was at this historic, iconic school. And it's beautiful and so much tradition and history. And it was amazing. It was amazing to walk on campus and walk to my classes and to look back on it. I'm like, I actually won here. I mean, when you're an athlete, you kind of zone out. It's like, yeah, I'm in. It's cool. But, you know, I definitely look at the younger athletes or just students in general and just like, and now I'm that older person, like, take it all in. Enjoy it. And it's like, get away from me, old man. I'm like, you guys don't understand.
You don't even know.
You know, this way, yeah, life's a trap. Do not grow up by far. Do not grow up.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
So you mentioned discipline a lot, and I see it evident in people that are successful. Discipline is a huge aspect in that. Like, where did you learn this discipline? Is it something that you were born with? Is it something that you were taught? Like, you know, what was that like training or practicing that discipline? You know, like where did you acquire that?
My father. Military, straight from the South, all about academics, could care less if I was an athlete. He instilled discipline nonstop in terms of doing my homework, chores around the house, how to carry myself as a man, how society sees me, you know, as a black man. It was just, you have to be a certain way. And that was probably one of my biggest individuals that's influenced me when it comes to the discipline. And I don't want to like overkill this word passion, but you tend to get real disciplined when you're excited about something.
Yes.
You know, like, you know, working at a job that you might not enjoy or in a relationship you might not enjoy, that's discipline, right? That's hard because you have to like, but sometimes when I talk to people about my life as an athlete, like, oh, you made so many sacrifices. And I used to say, like, yeah, it was tough. And then as I got older, I changed that word. It's like, well, I didn't have to sacrifice. Sacrifice is doing something you don't want to do, right? This was something I enjoyed. There were moments where I flirted with maybe not going to practice and going to the beach but that was always the minority thought. The majority of the thought was like, I want to be here. And that's why I say the hardest choice is finding out what your passion is, because I think we tend to, as we get older, we forget. But if everybody was asked that same question at 6 or 5, you knew what your passion was right away. You're like, it's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. And as you get older, it's just like your passion sounds like the next guy's passion, sounds like the next guy who's standing in line behind you, sounds like the next person that's standing behind that guy. Everyone's passion somewhat sounds the same. Get a job, make money, pay bills, make more money, pay more bills. You know what I mean? Like, that's not your passion, right?
Yeah.
So it's tricky. It's scary the older you get because, now we have what we believe is, responsibilities that we have to do. But it's that fine illusion to be a step ahead. But discipline really takes place when you're excited about something. You'll find all the discipline you need. It's not like if we all had Ferraris. I'm not sure. Maybe you guys got Ferraris. I do not.
No.
But if someone's like, Jess, what's the discipline for you to drive that car? It's like, there is no discipline. I drive it anytime I can. There's no, you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right. But again, kind of narrowing it back down and structuring discipline. Again, it comes down to I had a community. So those moments where I didn't necessarily want to do something, I had people holding me accountable. I would write down my goals, which works in today's age too. Writing something down by your hand activates, your mind in a level that brings a certain type of structure and of having that occur even more. And with the goals, with the community, with the passion, discipline starts to morph into what it needs to be for that point in time. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So the Olympics, man.
The Olympics, crazy. Olympics was in
crazy.
2004. It's 2018, almost 2019, and I still think, what the hell just happened? So, real quick, for your listeners, I'm American, as you can see, as American as it comes, but I ran for Great Britain.
I read that.
I have dual citizenship. So my mom is British, born in London, with her parents, my grandparents, with Jamaican background. So the immigrants from Jamaica to London, and in this case, I have dual citizenship. So after UCLA, I took about 4 years off from the sport. 2004 rolls around. I'm realizing that the Olympic trials are in Sacramento, California, my hometown. I'm gung-ho. I told myself, you know what, this is my last hurrah. I didn't think I was good enough to make the Olympics, but I thought I was good enough to possibly make the Olympic trials in my hometown and have teachers, friends, family members, ex-girlfriends showing support. I was going to get loved one last time, won one round, and just, basically bow out of the sport. And so I found this coach, Jim Bush, rest his soul. He passed away about 2 years ago. He took me on. Hall of Fame coach, had trained numerous Olympians, world record holders. I got into the right training environment with the right coach, and magic occurred. Now, I was running well. Everything was taking place in 2004, but the only thing was I wasn't hitting the times I needed to hit to even make the Olympic trials at all in the United States. So after I completed a race down in LA, my coach heard my mom cheer for me. He's like, hey, where's your mom from? I'm like, she's British. Why? And he's just like, have you ever considered running for Great Britain? I'm like, you can't do that. I'm American. So he says, look into it. So I look into it, and it turns out that I was ranked third in the country based off of where I was. I was like, oh my God, I can actually go to possibly run for Great Britain in the Olympics. And I was just like, this seems weird and awkward. And so I didn't make that decision until later during the season, where I'm just like, you know what? My goal is the Olympics, and how it takes place is this is what's in front of me as far as my journey. I'm going to run it on my mom's side. This is my way in. So I basically take the steps to go over and run the British trials. That doesn't guarantee me that I'm going to be in the Olympics, but it allows me the opportunity to run the trials, and there's a process for that. One more week later, I run my last race of the season before I head off to Great Britain, and I run a world. I run time fast enough to put me, it ranks me in the world, but it allows me to even run at the U.S. trials. So had I waited 7 days, I would have had that choice. But so regardless, now I had to run in for Great Britain. So I ran for Great Britain, make it through the trials. It was an unbelievable experience because I had never been out of the country at that point in time. TJ doesn't count, no disrespect to Mexico, but traveling 2 hours from LA to cross the border to party doesn't count. I was full on in a different country, which was amazing. And to compete on an international level on that kind of a stage, and to hit the Olympics, to run in front of billions of people and have a whole country look at you. And it felt like 2 countries because I had so many supporters, obviously in the States, was unbelievable. The first time driving up to the stadium, all the athletes are in a shuttle van. And once I saw the Olympic flame, I like lost it. I'm just like, oh my gosh, because I thought of every race, every practice, every coach, every loss, every win. You know how people say your life flashes before your eyes? That's what took place. But it was, instead of my life, you know, I wasn't in some life ending situation. It was more like the pinnacle to everything
All
I
that
did
hard work.
was needed for me to get here, like everything. And so that's why I kind of look at everybody else's situations. They're like, man, I don't know. I'm like, trust me, it all adds up. It will all add up, because I can tell you it all add up, because now I'm that guy, like, if I can do it, you can do it. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you hear these like motivational speakers, or, you know, someone sells pictures like, I was making $2 last year and now I'm making $3 million a month. It's like, get up, shut up. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm that dude. Like, we really do possess the ability to change our life. And I'm like, this is bananas. Now I have a story where I could talk to people like, you too can do it, because I am as, you know, I'm an average guy, but with extraordinary follow through when it comes to my passion, you know. And once we all kind of activate whatever we want to do, that's when things take off. So when people come up to me and say, I want to do this, I'm like literally looking at them without blinking, like, I believe you. Because I know everyone possesses the exact same characteristics to get what they want.
Yeah.
There are steps, and they can be a little distant and far and few in between. But if you get and you respect the criteria and the prerequisites, you're off to the races. Yeah.
Awesome, man.
I have a question. So you're obviously super motivational. I'm getting motivated listening to you right now.
Yes.
I'm doing some personal work myself around leadership and finding my vision, finding my passion. Has your passion evolved over time, or has it been something that you've known from day one? Has it changed as you got older? Or are there different things in your life that became important, you know, or was your passion like concrete?
I would say, like, kind of looking at everything right now, passion-wise, it was definitely for my skill set, which was the running. And I think it was just more self-contained for me. It was more of like me when I was younger. As I've gotten older, it's more, I get enjoyment out of seeing other people find their passion. That is my passion. So I'm a people person. Some people have to fake being a people person, have to try being like, this is just me, early in the morning, late at night, middle of the afternoon, 2 weeks from now, 2 years from now, 20 years from now. That's what I know of myself. I love being around people. I love helping people. I love listening to people. I love connecting with people. That is my passion. So it definitely has changed. Was it always there? Yes. I just think it's manifested and transitioned into something much different. Again, seeing somebody, it's like Christmas. It's like someone opening up their present. I love giving this gift. And someone's like, oh, you got me something, Malachi? I'm like, I got you something. You got me something? I got you something. Go ahead and open it up. Go ahead and open it up. And they're opening it up and they're ripping it up quick. And they're like, Malachi, this is wrapped so nice. I'm like, you know, I'm going to hook you up. And they open it up. And they're like, dude, this is just a mirror. It's like, yeah, it's you. I gave you back to you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm standing front row seeing how you're going to develop at this point in time to your best self. And that's just the most exciting thing. You know what I'm saying? Seeing somebody really build that relationship with themselves and to whatever they want to manifest take place. That is just like the ultimate high for me. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. And I'm sitting front row with the big, you know, container of popcorn, just like, this is about to be good. Talking to the person behind me. So it's like, keep your voice down, young man. I'm like, you don't know, Jess is about to blow up. Because you can kind of see the same steps, whether it's a businessman, an athlete, an entrepreneur, a developer, anything. Influencers, you see the exact same formula over and over again. I used to look at these motivational books like, man, this is a bunch of junk. And then when you really look at the steps, it's like, follow it.
Yeah.
I was a late bloomer, but when I realized, like, what does it hurt the 30 days or 2 months? Follow it. See what happens. You know? So, again, with time, you have to understand your passion was always there. It's just waiting on us. It's like soccer. When you it's like wrestling. I don't know if you guys grew up around wrestling, WWE, and you have the tag team. You know, like, I think we're getting beat up in life, and your passion's standing outside the ropes. Like, as soon as you tag me in. You know,
that's a great analogy.
I'm gonna wreck shop. You know what I mean? Passion's fresh. It's strong. It has the endurance. You got to tag it in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have niece and nephews. And the older niece and nephews are 17. Elijah, Kaylee is 19 right now. And I said, the coolest thing about being young is being young. You got the energy, you got the looks, you know what I'm saying? You can sleep for days, eat horrible, listen to whatever music. And then you hit a moment that everything you learned at this time was to distract you away from your passion. Then you're going to spend the rest of your life trying to undo what was wrong to make it right. Keep your passion close. Look to those that are older to you. Find a mentor. Find somebody. And most people take it as an honor. It's like, look, I like how you're carrying yourself. Can I learn from you? Is there something I can sign up for? And like, well, of course, young man. You'd be surprised. And if that person says no, go out there and find someone else who says yes. It's just people that are really successful have that ability to take on more no's than the average person. The average person, it's like they take 2 no's. They're like, I'm done.
Dude,
Shoot.
I take a lot of no's.
Right? Collect
Keep it
those
moving.
no's like they're serious. You know
Keep
what I'm
it
saying?
moving.
Like no cereal. It's like, I'll have another bowl of no cereal, please. No burrito. Order for one more no burrito from Malachi. You know what I mean? Because you got to look. A lot of successful people are living off of one yes. Just one yes. Whether it's an app, a website, a piece of clothing, a podcast. It just takes one. That's it. And you're set for life. You know what I mean? So it's like, collect the no's.
Sure.
The odds are in your favor. But, you know.
Definitely, man.
Yeah.
So Formula Gold.
Formula Gold.
What is this, man?
Finding your formula for success. So it definitely has a whole Olympic approach to it. And my partner that helped me start everything up was Joanna Hayes. So we were teammates at UCLA. And in 2004, we were at the exact same Olympic Games. She wins gold in the 100 hurdles.
Wow.
We come together. Every level of success has a formula. Your formula. So mine was like perseverance times determination equals my gold, right? So everyone has their unique formula that got them to that point. I always tell people like, well, your formula sounds good. I want it. It's like, no. Your formula has to be unique to yourself.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, it's okay to be inspired by YouTube and by books and even what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, it's just inspiration. That is not something you're supposed to follow. That's why most people say, like, I read the book, but nothing happened. Because, like, you literally follow the book and exactly. It's like, yeah, everything. I bought everything. It's like, whoa. Use it for inspiration, but it has to be custom to you. Your life experience will always be custom to you. Your body only moves when it's voice activated to you. I don't move it. You move it. Like, oh, I didn't get that point. You know what I mean? So it's like, be very understanding that when Formula Gold is something that you take on, it's your formula that equals your gold. So it's basically Olympic inspired workouts for general everyday people.
Gotcha.
So it's a lot of my workouts, a lot of my recovery, as well as other Olympians. And we put together this program and we share it with athletes, everyday people, amateurs, and obviously other professional athletes as well.
Yeah. So the consulting for professional teams, MLB, NBA, NFL.
Yes.
What does that look like, man?
That's exciting because when I I started Formula Gold, literally a couple of months before the Olympics, so I became a trainer. So I was just like, okay, I can't take a standard job because I need to devote majority of my time training, recovering, and so forth. So I became a trainer. It kind of fit in perfectly for that year. And in doing so, I started working with kids, and kids turned to parents, and parents turned to colleagues, and colleagues turned to an athlete here, an athlete there, and it turned into professional athletes. And before long, I had this great base of clients that ranged from age, gender, and body type. And lo and behold, I started working with professional athletes. And well out of the years of me running, it allowed me to work with one athlete in particular, which was Alex Rodriguez. And I met Alex in 2014, and he was coming back into the sport. He needed to bring his career and his legacy into this full circle the right way. And it was a great opportunity. And it was a lot of, I don't know what's going to be on the other side of the fence. this could end disastrously. It could end really bad. But I took that jump, and it was, you know, one of the most impactful, unbelievable experiences in my life by far. You know, what I learned about myself, what I learned about the sport of baseball, but at the same time, this unbelievable man that basically had one of the greatest comebacks in his career.
Yeah.
You know, I was, again, like what I was telling you earlier, sitting front row with a bag of popcorn, just like, this is about to be good, because of everything that he did, building the community, respecting his talent, finding the prerequisite, and going back to his fans and his critics, and really being an extraordinary athlete, but understanding that he wasn't going to buy everybody over, but first of all, he bought the relationship to himself and to his community, which is his family, you know, and his circle. And then from there, he was ready to go out into the world, and he did extraordinarily well. It was great. It was really good.
So A-Rod Corp, you were the fitness director. What would
Yeah.
you say?
So with Alex, he's quite the businessman. So, I mean, that's his passion. I would say they're almost tie with baseball and business, and extremely successful. It's like, literally, I always tell myself I'm going to like A-Rod University, and I'm still trying to get my diploma and graduate up to his level. But needless to say, working alongside him and seeing that he has a huge business directed towards the fitness industry. He has True Fusion, and he has, you know, gyms in Mexico, and he's opening up, and he has UFC gyms. And so being alongside him, and obviously having my background in fitness, I've gotten an opportunity to learn a lot with him and work with him and seeing that side of fitness. So it's been a great opportunity, and it's just like I'm still learning. So it's cool because beyond me being the trainer, it's now morphed and transitioned into the business aspect. So that's where I'm at now. I'm just like, this is great. So I try to pick up as much as I possibly can from this man, because it's just like, it's like a walking university. So it's like the university where you're studying, which is very important, and then there's an actual real life practical version. And that's when I've met some amazing people. So shout out to Alex. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Still learning. You're the greatest.
That's awesome. So you've accomplished so much, and you're a busy guy. So this podcast, the reason I started this was because in my own fitness and health and wellness journey, I have this team of people who keep me together, whether it's MFT or acupuncturists or meditation coaches. I have this team of people who keep Eric's life together. Like the community you've talked about, and so as for you, what's your self-care routine? What keeps you together? Do you work with healers? Do you meditate? What do you do to take care of yourself?
Self-care. So, I mean, an ideal day for me, I'd get up, meditate for about an hour. Glass of water, meditate for an hour. If that'd be ideal. My relationship to meditation started back 20 years ago when I was at UCLA. The anxiety and the fear that would take place every Saturday to perform, and then, every Friday night to have these knots in my stomach and this fear. I'm just like, whoa, this has to go somewhere. This can't be life. The sports are supposed to be fun and get the whole training, be the athlete you can, but this is just not good. So I was walking on campus and I saw this flyer for meditation. Sat in there. I didn't really know what I was doing. I think I was the youngest one in there. I didn't know if it was just for faculty. Needless to say, I started my practice then. So meditation would be something I do like every other month for like 5 minutes. I didn't know what I was doing. I was lighting incense, folding up blankets, just whatever you thought it was, right? Like I'm closing my eyes. I'm thinking about everything and anything and not. It's like, I thought I'm supposed to glow or walk through a wall. Like, what's going on? So year after year, I started building this relationship, and it did help. And now I'm at this stage right now. Meditation is the ability to have a healthy intention unplugged, to reflect on myself, my surrounding, and it helps prioritize. When my eyes are open, it helps me prioritize my life, as well as my emotions for what is instead of what needs it to be. I'm a big fan of Vipassana meditation. I'm not sure if you heard that.
Tell us about it.
These 12-day silent retreats, which is amazing. A friend told me about that years ago, and I kind of took it on as a bet. She says, you wouldn't last 3 days because I couldn't last 3 days, and it was 12 days. So the athlete to me is like, you know what? I'm going to give you those 12 days. And so within these 12 days, I would definitely tell your listeners to look into it. And it's not for everyone. This is just something that at stage for me at my life that worked for me. But you got, literally I can speak on this for like a whole hour, but there's some of the requirements are you're not talking for those 12 days. You're eating only twice a day. You're meditating anywhere from 10 to 12 hours. And just the experiences that go through the body, as well as when you finish the program going back out into the world, you're just like, whoa. So I would say this, just to conclude that part, when they say that we don't use 100% of our mind, I think that we do. It's just, they say we only use 6%. Is it 6%? 7%?
I have no clue, but it's
Something super
crazy
duper
small.
low.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that the other 94 is that much. Just you're distracted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's almost like everybody wakes up in the morning like, oh, okay, wash my clothes, work out, read a book.
Yeah.
Or read a chapter in a book that could be 5 pages, and that could take 3 months. You know what I'm saying? There's just, they said that the average person has an attention span of a 6-year-old. We're adults.
Yeah.
So it's literally, when I meditate, it prioritizes my thoughts. So ritual-wise, back to that long, I kind of went off the deep end, but I do the meditation. I got a juicer. I like to get my fitness in. I like to do everything business-wise first thing in the morning.
Me
when my
too,
energy's up. They say that you only have so many decisions per day. As the day goes on, decisions get weaker and weaker. At the end of the day, you're just like, yes, no, yes. You know what I mean? You're just like a zombie. So I literally race. I tell myself, I'm an early morning riser. I try to get up at 4:30, if not 5:30. Again, you see it in the books. You see other successful people. It's like, me too.
That's me
You know what I'm
too.
saying?
Yeah.
I used to be that stubborn dude. Like, man, I don't need to do that. I'm going to rewrite everything. I'm going to get up at 12. It's like, dude, there's 1,000 people doing one thing. Like, come on. It's going to hurt you. It's like, no. So, literally, I'm off to the race. And it's hard. I do have my issues. I do battle with that and just make it very clear. I do acknowledge that there's a lot of things I'm still working on. This is not me sitting
We'll
down.
get into that in a minute. I want to hear about that.
Yeah. But for the most part, I'm trying to race very quickly before it's 3 o'clock to everything that matters most to me, business-wise, growth-wise, direction-wise, because I know my mind can jump to things that don't necessarily equal to success. And I do allow people that are in the same vibrational frequency or same direction where I'm going to hold myself accountable, and I share more. As I've gotten older, I'm more transparent and I share more what works, what doesn't work. And my vulnerabilities is just as much as my confidence. And that's been some real growth. But yeah, that would probably be my agenda. It's like the meditation, the moving of the body, which would be fitness, writing down a lot more of what I want to do. So that's the journaling and just having that overall structure. I don't think sometimes I was as structured as I should be. So just learning, listening to a good podcast, which would be you guys' podcast. Podcasts are going. LA is known for its traffic, so I always try to listen to a podcast in the car. So you guys are going to be full front and center on that. And everybody else I know, get on you guys' podcast.
So struggles. What are you? So what are you struggling with today? Let's be honest.
Struggling with today. Food.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
food's a big one. Food controls energy. Food controls my surroundings. Meaning that I went from when I was an athlete, I was a carnivore. I did the whole meat thing. As of right now, I'm more plant-based.
Okay.
That's the struggle. It looks kind of trendy and cool, at least online, right? Everybody looks, but sometimes, I've enjoyed the process of being plant-based, but I also have those cravings still, and I'm also learning what works best for me. That's one. 2, making sure I stay. It's hard because when I was an athlete, everything was structured in a way where it was that road's been paid by other athletes. So it's like, oh, this is easy. Get a coach, get training partners, have a list of meets that you're going to run. Ultimate goal, either a world championships or Olympics. So it's kind of like a template of, it's like, this is easy. I just need to fill in kind of like what I need to do. And I could put myself in position of possibly obtaining that, which was being a participant in Olympics or world championships. Now, as an entrepreneur, it's not as easily, you know what I mean? It's not the easiest, but with time, I use a lot of metaphors and analogies like, oh, I need to get a coach, which is maybe a business mentor, or I need to get training partners. You know, I use it in my language. It works for me. It's like people that are in my industry that I can communicate with. You know what I mean? Oh, I need to have deadlines. That was huge. I didn't do a lot of deadlines.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, I want to do this, do that, do that. It's like, when? I'll let you guys know. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? And then another year goes by. We had some New Year's Eve party and just like, wait a second. I was at the exact same damn party talking to you about what I was going to do. You know, it's like some weird like loop in the universe. I'm like, I'm saying the exact same thing every New Year's Eve party on the exact same couch talking to the exact same person. Yeah. So I was like, I need to create deadlines because I was an athlete. There was a deadline. Olympics are in 6 months. If you don't, then someone else will. So it was just like I had a clear goal, creating deadlines that are realistic.
Yeah.
It's too unbelievable. My true being's like, yeah, right, sit down. You're not going to write 9 books in 9 days. You know what I mean? So setting realistic goals and deadlines. And so sometimes that's been a challenge for me. I mean, well, I see things that I want to do, and I just don't set a deadline. And not jumping. I jump a lot. Like, I want to do this. Oh, no, I want to do that. No, I want to do this. I want to do that. So really being protective over what comes into my field of perception, you know, not stimulating myself or distracting myself, whether it's the TV, social media, like look at what's going to add to the direction where I'm going to. And again, relying back on my community, doing the self-reflection through meditation. Meditation might not be for everybody, but I do believe everybody needs to unplug. You know what I mean? Because if you're constantly plugged in, especially in this world, then where the hell are you going? Like, you don't really know where you're going because you're constantly being bombarded. You know what I mean? So I would say deadlines, creating a deadline I've struggled with, being more organized with my food. I love when I've looked on friends' Instagram posts, or just friends that are in the fitness industry and they do the meal prep. So I'm still, you know, as much as you're like, oh, you're an Olympian, I'm sure you do. It's like, no, I don't. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I try to be as authentic as possible. So when I do speak to people, it's not like, follow me. It's like, no, I still, a lot of things that I'm just acknowledging, things that I might not be figuring out I'm doing wrong until maybe a year from now. But those are the areas like food, deadline, better structure. You know, and there's some other areas I'm very proud of. Like, great, I'm doing strong in that areas. But yeah, I would say that.
Besides your work, let's like leave the work stuff alone for a few minutes. Right. What's your joy? Like, joy. Is it like, where do you find your joy? Where do you find your joy?
I find my joy when I'm in situations where I don't have to ask for permission from others to be happy, because I have that relationship with myself. I just started traveling alone. Okay. Not because I have no friends, not because I'm an angry person, but to challenge that relationship with myself. You know, people are like, if you're your own best friend, it's like, you really need to be your own best friend. Because I think that in order to get what you want, you got to be that last voice in your head. It's like, oh, we're good. We're strong. So, you know, there came a point in time, I want to say about 5 years ago, that I was in LA and it was New Year's Eve, and I had all these opportunities to go out to these parties, and it's like, hey, Hollywood Hill, this person sells that, and this function. I'm like, cool. There's this faint voice like, why don't you hang out with me? I'm like, what the hell voice is that? And it was me talking to me. So I literally packed my backpack, hopped in my car, drove out to Joshua Tree, and spent New Year's Eve by myself with a bunch of stars in the sky, Joshua Tree. I camped. It was one night. It was the most unbelievable thing. And I'll tell you why that relationship was special, because it was the first time that I think I acknowledged myself. It's like, damn, these legs have taken me around the world. This heart has kept me alive. These arms have allowed me to pick up some amazing things. These eyes have allowed me to see a lot of amazing things. This voice, you know what I mean? It was just like this weird, like, damn, like, you've done so much for me. And sometimes I don't feed you the best. Sometimes I deprive you of sleep. I put you around some shady people, you know what I mean? And just to acknowledge it, it's just like, you've acknowledged us, now we'll show you even much more. And my life really expanded. So now I'm just like, I love people. I love hanging out with people. I have a lot of friends, love making new friends. But I make sure I save that space and time for me, because it builds up that resilience where it's like, instead of always having my best friend with me, to find something funny, like, oh, one of my friends were here. It's like, I can laugh.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I give myself permission. So what makes me really happy is having a strong relationship with me in a very healthy way, not an egocentric way, not a dictatorship way, a healthy relationship. I can be with me. You know, a lot of people are like, well, I'm alone. No, being in traffic doesn't count. Standing in the DMV line doesn't count. Really organizing some time with you, for you. It's almost like that weird, and some people are like, you got to date yourself. But it's like, it's really when I've understood myself more, and it's something I'm going to do for the rest of my life, I produce my own happiness. And that's so great. Not a car, not a girl, not a, you know what I mean? It's like me, like, this is crazy. So what brings me happiness, having that relationship with myself, and once I've taken care of myself, sharing that relationship with others.
Gotcha.
Right? And seeing it in other people. So yeah, that's what makes me happy.
So we met doing FST.
Yes.
And did you end up going further with it? You just did level 1, or did
you know what's so crazy? I'm gonna do level 2 in February.
Okay.
So I was on hiatus. I think that was 2 years ago, right?
That was 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, this is cool.
Yeah.
Wow, we're stretching people out in the whole fascia system. So now I'm going to do level 2.
Cool.
So with time, right now, my business, I have like a concierge business. So I basically bring the gym to people's living rooms.
Dope.
So it's like, knock on someone's door. It's like, hi, I'm Malachi. I bring you the trainers, the massage therapist, the stretch therapist. I bring it to people's homes. And I create that diverse program for them. So it's like, you got Eric on Monday to stretch you out. Then you have Malachi on Tuesday on the track. And then so it's like, this is great, all from your home.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's nice. But in order for me to expand on my business, I got to really educate myself even more.
Yeah, it's
you know what I mean?
important.
So it's
A
like
lot of
as a
trainers
business
don't-
owner, you got to
A lot of
kind
trainers don't do it. They
Yeah, I
don't-
might not want to be a full-time stretch guy, but I need to educate myself. If I'm trying to find good people, it's like, well, I got to walk the walk.
For
you know
sure.
what I mean? So
What other modalities? What other certifications do you have?
I have that. I'm USA Track and Field Certified Level 2. I'm trying to get Level 3. And I have some retreats coming up in 2019.
Yeah, tell us
I'm doing
about
an
those. What do you-
all-Olympic. So one of the most popular questions I've received over the years, and I was an Olympian, like, come on, this is like an 04. So this is a long time ago, but I still get this to this day. And this is like, what was the village like? What was the village like?
I was gonna ask that. But I was like, that's probably the question everybody asks.
Is it just crazy? Is it just sex and craziness? And it's like, well, yes and no.
Yeah.
But yes, right? Because you get all these athletes where you have all these hormones flowing and you have all these emotions focused onto one area, and then it's done. So either if you lost, you're just like, dude, I'm trying to party. You know what I'm saying? That's just you want to release. And if you won, you want to release. And it's just, it happens every 4 years. So you get a lot of people expressing themselves in the most dramatic, over-the-top ways. But I've decided over the years, I've gotten a lot of fitness questions and how do Olympians train and how they eat. So now I have an all-inclusive kind of retreat, which will be taking place in March, close to the LA Marathon, which is either the first week or the second week. I'll have that organized by this Friday. And it's an Olympic Village. So people check in, Olympic Village. It's all Olympians. It's all our philosophies, the food, the training, the mindset. You come in, you get your room. Your room is designated to a certain country. So it's just like the village experience. So people are like, is this what you guys experience? This is exactly what we experience. This is our training. You guys compete. You guys get your program. You're off to the races. Now go out into the world. You are an Olympian.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So where's that going to be held?
Los Angeles.
Nice.
Los Angeles. Yeah.
Nice. So we're gonna let you get out of here. Where are you headed tonight? What do you got going on?
I am heading back to Los Angeles.
Oh, tonight.
So
Okay.
back on the freeway. I don't think traffic should be not too
No,
bad.
shouldn't be bad.
Shouldn't be too bad. Yeah. So back to LA. Back to LA.
Okay. Well, where can people reach you? What are you promoting? Anything besides your retreat? What?
So what I'm going to do, my website malachidavis.com.
Okay.
Everything will be reestablished as of this
We'll
Friday.
put a link on the
yeah,
bio.
this Friday, and
We'll
then
tag
we'll be good to go.
And what's your Instagram, Twitter, anything like that? You want to plug it?
Instagram, Malachi_Davis, MALACHI_Davis_.
Cool.
Add to the family. Thank you.
I
This has been
appreciate you,
amazing.
man. You got any more questions, Jesse?
Yeah, well, when you were talking about your business, I just had a question about, like, what inspired you, like, what made you make that shift where it's like, this is what I want to do, you know, as a career, or like, you know, or what inspired you to have these ideas of like, I'm gonna bring the gym to these people's houses, you know?
Trainer. I was already a trainer. And it's just, you know, life is about evolving, right? So it's like, oh, I noticed that people want this, and you see like that space of like, I could put this here, or I see this as a need. You know what I'm saying? Whether people ask me questions, whether it was kind of like my trial and error. And it was something that, again, I'm a people person. I love to serve. I love the structure. I love the plan. I love to put good people in front of good people. So this was a great opportunity for me to put that out there. And so that's what it's, and like anything, like whether it's an app or you're always trying to create the demand that the customer, which if you see that could be successful. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
man.
and I'm exposed to a lot of good entrepreneurs and businessmen and women. So it's like, oh, let me try it. Whether it works, I mean, it's working, but you know what I mean? It's just, it's exciting to know that, you know, there's a good number of people around me that I can ask questions for. And I'm not as scared as I used to be in regarding failure. It's like, it happens to everybody, and it's not really failing, it's learning. Right? You're just going to learn.
That's
so it's
key,
not
that
a
like frame
mistake.
shift. It's
Yeah,
it's like
'cause
I'm
it's like, oh,
learning,
no.
I'm growing. You know?
Correct. Right? So either you're doing or learning. So it's just like, what? There's no failure in that word? It's like, no, switch mistake out to learn. You're going to learn. And so it's cool. Like, I love your podcast. I love the setup. Love you guys' energy. And it's inspiring me, you know?
You
So
start
it's,
one.
Yeah.
Everybody can start one. If you have an interesting life,
Yeah.
and you know some interesting people, even if you don't, sometimes it's just me, him, and Jesse, myself, and my other friend, and we just chat for an hour and a half. We'll just talk bullshit, and bro out. And I have some other female friends coming on, and we're just talking, and that's all we want to do. That's the cool thing about podcasts, is just long form discussion. It's not a talk show, just get to allow you to be yourself, and that's what we're doing here, getting all the health and wellness people that I know and that inspire me, that I watch do things, even the ones that a lot of people don't know, because having 1 million followers on Instagram doesn't correlate to impacting a ton of people's lives. There's no correlation. I know people with hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram, but don't have the practical knowledge to actually, they're Instagram trainers, which is okay. That's cool as well. There's a medium for everybody. But some of the people I've had on here don't have a bazillion followers, but they're making changes in people's lives, drastic changes. And I want those people to get love. And typically, it's hard to find your medium. For me, I went the podcast route because Instagram wasn't my medium. I'm not going to talk to the camera constantly. I'm not going to do the things that people are expected to do. So podcasting, you should, starting one with all the people and all you've accomplished, just talking about life. And I'm going to play this back and listen to this again, because there is things that people like you and other successful people I know that have in common, things they have in common. And those things are helpful to me. And I always say, every podcast, I say, I'm not special. If I need it and I can use it, everybody else can. We all are very similar in most regards. We have different talents and different attributes, but we all can benefit from mostly the same thing. So I appreciate you being on, man.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I like what you just shared with, because sometimes, especially on social media, there's so many discussions on social media. So it seems like everybody already has the answer.
It seems like it.
So I'm just like, why do I need? It's like, I don't need to say anything. Everybody already knows these
Everybody's
things.
Everybody's an expert.
Right. And then you're just like, but people haven't heard it your version, your way. I'm just like, there's people. It's like, get out there. So I'm like, oh, wow. So I'm just so glad you shared that. That was really, really insightful. But yeah, this is a great podcast, you guys.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming out. I love your message, man.
Yeah.
It's amazing to just hear, your experiences. And I'm gonna stick with my passion. That's what I really took from you, and it kind of got me excited too.
Got fired up.
I'm fired up right now.
Yeah, it's like, what else you gonna do? 'Cause it just sucks. It's like I battle with that every day. Like, should I be playing it safe, or there's no, like, I don't see. And it's just it's an awful setup, but you don't have the clearest path for you.
Yeah,
you have the clearest path to work for somebody else. But when it comes to you, it's like, well, excuse me, where's the lighted path? It's like, there is none.
You got to figure it out.
Got to figure it out. So you build your team.
And it's not linear. That's the thing.
Yeah. It could be,
When I was, even in my early 20s, I was like, you know, I'm going to do this thing. Even with FST, I was like, I'm going to get this certification and the trajectory will be up from here. Or any of the number of certifications I did or any of the number of ventures I've gone down, it's going to be like, the path will be straight up from here.
Right.
And none of it is that way. It's all like all kinds of ways, but it's maintaining passion and maintaining drive, handling no's and handling adversity. Because most people quit. Most people don't start. Most people don't start the thing. Most people don't start the podcast. Most people don't try, for the Olympic trials. Most people stop before that happens. That's why small minority of people doing certain things. But once you started, it's understanding you're going to take lumps. You're going to take L's. And even though you take the L's, you get up and you keep it moving. And you keep it moving, put one foot in front of the other, and you're a perfect example of that.
And that's it's true. And a lot of it too, I'm very cautious what goes in my mind.
Yeah.
So if I know there's certain platforms, certain programming that conditions me to be scared or insecure or doubt myself, don't feed them.
Yeah.
Because when we're all attempting to do something, and all of a sudden a voice comes and is like, "What are you thinking?" It's like, you don't have enough money. You don't know that. It's like, but where did that come from? And you have to always tell people, depending on what you watch, what you listen to, what you read, who you're around, that's going somewhere. You know, we have like
On a
mirror neurons,
level.
and subconscious. So it's like you're mirroring something. Because you talking to you at 6, you wouldn't talk like that. You at 6 would slap you at 30, 40, 20. It's like, what the heck are you talking about? It's like, we just need to put shoelaces in boots and that's our life. It's like, wait, what? So it's coming from somewhere. So there was a stage, and I still do it. I hunt my distractions. So sometimes instead of like my to-do list, I literally write down what are my distractions for today. They're going to come at the exact same time. Whether the first distraction for me is the first thing in the morning, checking my phone and Instagram. That's a distraction. What the heck am I doing looking at Instagram first thing in the morning? Before I get centered. What does that have to do with anything? And then, as Instagram, you forget 5 minutes later, what the heck, if you ask the average person, what's the last 10 posts? They're just like, I don't know. So we're building a life of I don't know, we don't remember, but that's our first priority. So I'm like, I've been conditioned to do that. So I got to restart this condition myself. So for me, I hunt my distractions, literally. I said, like, I get distraction by social media. Social media isn't bad all the way through, but like anything, if you don't balance it out or use it to where it's for your own personal growth, it could be bad. You know what I mean? Food, if I don't prepare my food, I know half the time when I go outside, I'm going to probably eat something that doesn't respond well with my body. The people in my life, are you building a relationship to people that can keep you subdued? It's not their fault, but you're feeding these relationships. So I'm very cautious of my distractions, because if I can, if I normally traditionally, as an example, have 10 distractions, and now I have 3, and I have 3, I already know what I do well. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to keep boosting it up like, I do this, I do that, I do this. It's like, hunt the distractions. Those are the ones that eat first. A good distraction
that's
eats
a quote right there.
90 cents of the dollar. It takes 90 cents of the dollar. A good distraction. Because, when I look back at my life sometimes, I'm like, I'm 41 now. Some of the things I'm doing now, I could have done at 31. It wasn't age. It wasn't, I needed more of this and more of that. I was that distracted. I was that unclear. That was it. It wasn't more muscles. It's like, you got people being millionaires at 16. Seriously. Right? So it's like, there is no right or wrong or up or down. It's distractions. So everybody's like, fine, this is like distractions. And your distractions are custom to you. And when you're by yourself, unplugged, see how kind of everything ties in, whether you call it meditation, prayer, or just time out time, call it whatever you want. You will see them. They're like bullies. You know what I mean? And like a traditional bully walks down the same street every single day to take your lunch, your homework, and give you that fat lip. That's a distraction. And you're walking down the same exact street at the exact same time before school. It's like, hey, Malachi, what's up? What do you got in the lunch bag for me? It's like, no, not today. Snatches my lunch, takes my homework, gives me that fat lip. It's like, you never thought about walking the other street over? So that's why I hunt my distractions. Like, well, I'm going to keep walking. But again, a day can turn into a week can turn into a month, to the year. Same New Year's Eve party. I want to do this and that.
Dude, That's what I did with the podcast.
Yeah.
I was talking to Jesse about it, and our other friend Travis, and I was like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and I talked about it. I talked about it for 6 months, but I'm okay that it took me that long, because on spiritual time, that consciousness, there's timing is important, you know, and certain things, I have great ideas, but it's just not the right time. And when I feel like I'm forcing things, for me, when I'm in that God consciousness or whatever you want to call that, in that flow, things are just happening for me.
Right.
Like the podcast, this shit just happened. You happen to be in town. Jesse happens to be available. We happen to find the studio space. There's nothing forced about doing any of the things that I'm working on right now. Everything is happening with like guided steps, you know? So, but yeah, man, it was good talking to you, man. It's
Thank
good
you.
To hear. Good
Thank
to
you for
hear,
having me.
dude.
Yeah.
Thanks for having. Let you get out of here, bro.
All right.
Anyway, cool.
Peace out, y'all.
Peace.
Can I get it on the gram?
Yeah.
Where's my phone at?
When you take the headphones off.
It's crazy.
Is it crazy?